Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about this Core Valley linear compensator. Okay, so the purpose of the linear compensator is to divert more of the noise downrange on an AR pistol. Okay, so AR pistols that are less than 16 inches in length are extremely loud because the gunpowder doesn't get a chance to fully burn inside of the barrel. So a lot of the gunpowder is going to burn outside the barrel, which is going to give you a huge muzzle flash, which is blinding if you're shooting it at night. You lose your reticle, you lose sight of your target. So you get a muzzle flash, and it's also extremely loud, okay? It's loud enough that even if you've got good, tight ear protection on, you can still get a headache because the noise is just coming in through your ears. There's a concussion wave that actually goes in through your body, right? And it kind of, if you shoot this enough, if you shoot like 200-300 rounds of an AR pistol, it kind of feels like your brain is getting beat up, from the concussion waves that are going through your body. So that's why on my AR pistols, I want to have an AR comp. Now, on this one over here, this is a Palmetto 10.5-inch upper. I've had the Core Valley linear comp on here for, I think, almost a year now. Works great. I've hit about, I think I've hit between 2 and 3 inches at 100 yards with this 10.5-inch upper. I think my best group was 2 inches on this gun. So I thought that was great, very accurate for a 10.5-inch barrel. The reason, what happened here is I had this other, the 7.5-inch barrel from Radical, and I have lots of Radical rifles, and the other ones are extremely accurate. I got one. I posted a video a couple of weeks ago where I hit 1 inch at 100 yards. Right, that was a 16-inch barrel. So I have found the Radicals generally to be very, very accurate for an economy rifle. Okay, but here I had one that was 7.5 inches, and this thing was giving me like more than 6-inch groups, 8-inch groups. Sometimes the groups were just going completely off the paper. Okay, so I was getting 8-inch plus groups on this barrel, and I didn't quite know why. So I said, I don't know if it's just a bad barrel that I got, right? Because hey, with any manufacturer, I mean, you're gonna get the occasional defect. Is it a bad barrel that I got, is this just the limitation of the 7.5-inch barrel? So that's what I was trying to figure out when I bought this barrel from Palmetto. Okay, so this is also the 7.5-inch barrel, Palmetto. So let's try this out. Let's see what kind of accuracy I can get at 100 yards. So I'll know whether it's just that barrel happens to be bad, or if it's just the limitation of the 7.5-inch barrel. So this came in yesterday. By coincidence, the linear comp came in like the same day. Okay, so that's great because I had them both. But what I decided to do is, before I put the linear comp on that upper and shot it, I wanted to first shoot it with the flash hider and see what the difference is afterwards when I put the linear comp on it. I didn't expect much of a difference, but I said, hey, let's find out. Let's not guess. Let's actually test this and find out. So. Interesting thing here is that I took the optic off of this barrel here, the 7.5-inch, and I put it on there. Now, normally when I take the optic off of one AR and put on another AR, there's not much of an adjustment that I have to make. I mean, I may have to make a couple of clicks left or right or up or down, but it's usually pretty well zeroed in. The first thing that I saw that was a little off is when I took that optic off of that gun, put on this one, and tried to get an initial, test zero at, I think, 20-25 yards. It was like way off. Okay, it was way off. I said, wow, that's surprising. Now, mind you, I was shooting this with the bird cage, right? I didn't have the linear comp on this yet. I was just shooting this with the bird cage. So I didn't think much of it. I just went through the process of zeroing this in. I got a 50-yard zero, great. Took this out to 100 yards. So 100 yards with just the flash hider. Okay, and basically 7.5-inch barrel, just a flash hider. I've got basically a 3-inch group. Okay, which is pretty good compared to what I was getting with this one. This one was getting 6 at best. Most of them were coming at 8, right? Most of them were coming in at 8 inches at 100 yards. So I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. 3 inches at 100 yards. Okay, excellent. So then what I did is I took the upper off of this gun, took the rail off of this gun, took out the ball carrier. I put the barrel, wrapped the barrel in a towel, put it in the vise, took off the bird cage that came with it, and I put on this Core Valley linear comp. Okay, put it on there, and then I said, okay, let's go out to 100 yards and let's see what we can do. So take a couple of shots at 100 yards, and I thought I saw some dirt moving. All right, I wasn't quite sure. I'm shooting this with the magnifier, right? I got the magnifier because I'm trying to see, it's a test. I want to see how accurate the gun is. I go out, I take a walk out there, and the paper's completely, there's nothing on the paper. I didn't get a single hit on the paper. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Grab my target, bring it back to 50 yards, take a few more shots at it, and this time I can clearly see that the bullets are hitting the dirt about a foot below the target, right? So they're coming about a full foot, like, obviously they're not, further out, but the equivalent of a foot below the target. I'm like, wow, that's a massive point of impact shift when you add that linear comp. So then I basically went, that's the whole point of this video. When you put the linear comp on your AR pistol, it's going to change your point of impact a lot. Like a foot at 50 yards, probably about 2 feet at 100 yards. Now I have heard people that have suppressors say that when they put the suppressor on versus taking it off, it moves their point of impact a lot. I thought they were talking about inches. I didn't realize they were talking about feet. Okay, and here's the thing: the suppressor is going to have a lot more baffles. It's probably going to affect the accuracy a lot more. Okay, the linear comp. I mean, a manner of thinking about this is basically a single baffle suppressor. Okay, it doesn't really quiet the gun down. It just sends more of the noise downrange. But you can kind of look at this. If you look, you got the main hole there where the bullet comes out, and then you got the circles around it. So that's kind of like a baffle. So it's a one baffle suppressor basically. That really doesn't make it quieter. It just sends more of the noise downrange. But yeah, it definitely changes the point of impact. And now I'm without owning any suppressors, I can really understand what people mean when they say that when you put the suppressor on, it changes your point of impact. I don't think they're talking about inches. They're talking about feet. Okay, and if it moved it 1 foot at 50 yards for me, it's probably going to move it a lot more for them. Okay, as far as the noise or the felt noise reduction, here's a way to understand this. When I was shooting it earlier in the day, right, with just the flash hider, okay, I started getting a mild headache. Okay, that's even though I had nice, tight, new earmuffs on. In fact, I even removed my hat because I wanted to have as tight a seal as possible. I didn't want any sound leaking in through the fabric. So even with me removing my hat and pressing it in, I mean, it wasn't hurting my ears. But what happens is when you're dealing with loud sounds, it's not just the noise going into your eardrums. There's also a concussion wave that goes through your body. So it's actually passing through your body to your brain, and it's kind of like your brain is getting beat up through your body. Okay, so the concussion wave is still there, even if you got the earmuffs on. There's still sound traveling through your body. So I started getting a mild headache. Having shot, I don't know, I shot maybe about 40 rounds. When I put the linear comp on there, right, I took a short break, put the linear comp on there, had some lunch, came back. By then the mild headache had gone away, and I didn't get that mild headache shooting the linear comp, which is why that needs to be on there for me. Okay, that linear comp needs to be there. Interesting thing is that when I'm shooting it, in a way, it almost sounds a little bit louder, but the reason why it sounds louder is because it's sending more of the noise downrange, and I'm getting an echo back. So the sound is different. So with the flash hider, it's just a really loud sound that's kind of like instantaneous. Whereas with the linear comp, it almost feels elongated because more of it is being directed in one direction, and then you're getting, I guess, more of the sound is bouncing back off the berms at me. So in a way, it almost sounds like it may be a little bit louder, but that's the echo. You can definitely feel that the noise is elongated a little bit. At least that's how I perceived it. But I definitely didn't get that mild headache that I was getting when I was shooting it with just the flash hider. Now, I'm 50 years old. You young guys shooting it, you may not be affected the same way, but that's how it is for me. So it's definitely going to change your point of impact. But let's talk a little bit about accuracy. When I shot this at 100 yards, the best grouping that I could get at 100 yards was a 5-inch group. Okay, that was the best. Most of them came in closer. The longest one's from there to there, so that's 5 inches. Okay, so I definitely opened up from 3 inches to 5 inches. So definitely a little bit of a drop in accuracy. Now it was a little bit windy today, and I was trying to time this between the gusts of wind. Hey, and listen, maybe I wasn't having my best shooting day. That's a possibility. I'm not going to definitively say that there's a loss of accuracy, right? Even though that's my initial impression, okay? But I'm going to say that, if the point of impact is going to shift that much, right? It's going to shift down a whole foot at 50 yards. My feeling is that it has to, that much of a bullet shift has to also affect your accuracy, at least a little bit. Okay, so those are my initial impressions on the accuracy. But as far as the linear, the linear comp, like I said, I've been using it on this gun over here for a much longer period of time, and it's an absolute must for an AR pistol. For me, it's worth it to sacrifice a little bit of accuracy. Just so that I can shoot the gun more, right? Because if the gun is giving me mild headaches, I'm not going to want to shoot the gun that much, okay? So for me, it's a worthwhile sacrifice, okay? So there are my thoughts on that. I'm definitely going to test the accuracy again, and I'll do a follow-up video. I'll try to pick a different day when it's not windy, or maybe I'm shooting a little bit better, because, sometimes it's a little, maybe when I was shooting earlier in the day, I was a little bit less, I was more rested, and by the time I got around to this, maybe I wasn't, I wasn't holding my groups as well. I don't know. So so we're gonna hold off on making an absolute accuracy conclusion, but we can definitely say that there's a major point of impact shift. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe, and look for. I have a couple of channels set up because YouTube has given me 2 strikes on my Safa channel and my Pocono shooting channel. So I have another channel set up called Absolute Guns. So get over there, get subscribed. This way, if I disappear in one place, you can find me somewhere else. I also have channels with similar names as this one, Safa and Pocono Shooting and Pocono Tactical, over at Rumble and also at Odyssey. Okay, a lot of my videos I've been able to get a lot of my videos transferred over to Odyssey. So definitely get yourself over there, and because let's try to keep in touch. We know that YouTube is going after the gun people, and we're gonna keep fighting them. Okay, we're gonna keep pushing back. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon.